RFK Jr. is running for president as an independent and was denied a place on the ballot in New York State in the upcoming election. The judge who ruled against Kennedy did so on grounds that Kennedy used a false address to register to vote in the state. Kennedy has been living in Southern California. In a post on X, RFK Jr. accused the DNC of waging lawfare against him and interfering in this election. Quote, this case is an assault on New York voters who signed in record numbers to place me on their ballot. The DNC has become a party that uses lawfare in place of the democratic election process. We will appeal and we will win. RFK Jr.'s father represented New York in the United States Senate. This betrayal of his old home state is salt in the wound. But is this really lawfare? Our next guest is someone who has gone up against lawfare attacks time and again and has fought for election integrity. Attorney and political strategist Zach Werrell of Blue Ridge Law joins the program. Welcome.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about, especially on the lawfare front. But in this case in particular, the judge in the case is saying that Kennedy used his friend's address to register to vote in New York and has not stepped foot in the state. How does the judge know this in this particular case?
Yeah, so what happened is a group of petitioners who were paid for by the DNC, essentially through another organization, a PAC, they got a bunch of voters in New York to say, to challenge in court the aspects of his petition. And so the basis of their challenge wasn't that people who weren't real had signed or there was forged signatures of the petitioners. Instead, they said Robert F. Kennedy listed an address that doesn't qualify as his residence under New York state law. And so in essence, they threw out 150,000 otherwise valid signatures based off of an address that he put at the top. And so while technically by the law, he's incorrect, he used the wrong address technically by the law, but the fact of the matter is the legal system and the laws in place are often used to achieve ends that aren't in the interest of justice and are rather for some end, and that's lawfare. That's using the law in a manner to effectuate a political end. And in this case, the Democratic Party, which quite frankly, the only thing democratic about the Democratic Party is their name at this point, they found a little tiny error that is not substantial to invalidate 150,000 otherwise valid signatures and get him thrown off the ballot.
No, that's extraordinary that on a technicality that the reigning opposition party will stand there and say, we don't care what these 150,000 signatures represent. Rules are rules.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's kind of the shield that people engaged in lawfare hide behind. In theory, the law is supposed to ultimately result in justice. And the problem is when you have a horribly corrupt state like New York, where the Democrats and Republicans, quite frankly, are in bed together, they passed these rules. And they didn't pass these rules to be so stringent in order to ensure competition and to make it fair. They passed these rules to make it very easy for them to knock out opposition candidates.
Well, it seems supremely ironic to me that the Democrat Party is limiting access to the ballot in a blue state against a Kennedy. There's just so many layers to that onion that you can't believe it's a real headline.
Well, you can and you can't. And so, again, with the Patriot Act, it was unpatriotic. With the Democratic Party, they're anything but democratic. The Democratic Party was behind trying to remove President Trump from the ballot to prevent the people from having a Democratic vote in a Democratic election to democratically elect Donald Trump. And they're engaging in the exact same tactics here. And so, again, they are going to hide behind the fact that technically the rule says that it invalidates the whole petition drive. But that's, again, an artificial construct designed to prevent actual competition and from democracy from functioning. And so, again, it's just rich that the Democratic Party is the one who nominates someone without a Democratic primary, who tries to knock the other two leading candidates off the ballot. They're not democratic at all.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.